Allaoua, welcome on the podcast today.
Thank you, Sophia.
How are you feeling?
Hot.
Hot.
No, I feel very good. I'm very happy to see you again here because we kind of met without really meeting. So I'm very looking forward for our conversation.
I feel like it's been a couple of years. I was in contact with you when you were doing, I think it was the first attempt for the yoga world record that you were going to break.
Yeah, in 2023, 23.
Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on that? What was the strategy?
The strategy, I don't know if the strategy, but the vision was to see. I've been in Dubai for 18 years, and there's a couple of Guinness World Record that I believe Dubai should own somehow. And being here for so long, I was thinking I need to do something to represent, both yoga and the UAE. So the highest amount of nationality in a yoga session was definitely for Dubai, which is one of the most cosmopolitan places in the world. And that's what the challenge. So it took me. So I was at the origin of the project, and I honestly handled pretty much everything myself. It was challenging. It took 9 months, maybe more actually, until the day we managed to do it. I got good support from Dubai municipality and the sports council, but it came a bit later over the project. We're looking for sponsors because it has a cost, to gather people together, to pay for Guinness. It can go 300,000-400,000, dirham, something like that. So you need to have people who actually support you and brand who want to associate their image with the Guinness and
What's the actual process if you want to break a world record with Guinness?
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of people maybe are not familiar with that. I was not. So basically, you need to find something that already exists. For example, with yoga, you have the highest amount of people doing yoga together, or the highest amount of nationality doing yoga together, or the first yoga underwater, whatever. They have a long list, from Guinness. So you reach out to Guinness, you see what records are available to attend, what exists already, if you're ready to take a chance to break it and go better than the previous one. You can also create one. That's very possible, but it needs to be certified. So it's a lot of back and forth with Guinness, first of all. Then when you find the exact denomination, then you start bringing the process. So the process for us was we need to have one person of each country holding the passport where we check them before. So it needs to be, I think we're aiming for 188 different nationalities. The person has to be physically there. And the sequence needs to be validated before to be yoga. So we had 27 asanas, posture. We kind of keep it basic as well, because if someone doesn't do one asana, it's not validated. So can you imagine about 200 people doing the same sequence together? It can be quite of a headache. And the person needs to stay until the end. The validation process takes some time because the referee or the Guinness official needs to check one by one. So, yeah, logistically, it's heavy. Maybe some other Guinness World Record, like individual, can be easier to achieve because you just need to perform. But when you do something with a group of people, the logistic is quite...
Your exposure is higher to risk of it not going right.
It's very high. It's actually almost a miracle to get it, especially the day of the event, because you always have someone who cannot make it. So you need to have a backup 1, backup 2, backup 3 for every nationalities in case if one is not making, at least one, Plus, still, I was not just a performer there. I was a part of,
manager, I can imagine.
Exactly. So all the sponsors, I'm not happy because the name is not on the t-shirt. The other one because the billboard is not, right, like visibility. The TV needs to that and that. And everyone. See, this is what I felt a little bit, not so sad, but you really feel everyone is very individual. Everyone is like running for his own interest. And I haven't felt so much. This is actually the first time I speak about it. This is actually a good question. I don't feel so much of the community and so much of the support. When the yoga and the well-being community, it's supposed to be based on the value when you support each other. I found it after 10 years in the industry that it's not the reality. And when anyone has initiative, it will be easier for the community or some people in the community to try to destroy this initiative rather than support, because they won't get any things out of it. So it's not like the dream world that we can see, about well-being, and lots of
Politics.
lot of politics, lot of I'm not saying I'm an angel, and of course you do things for your benefit, but still I always support when I can support. Always, like I never refuse any support, either it's commercial or not commercial, or it's just and I receive thousands of decline, and I was like, it's a bit weird. Especially I was managing different studios, so I know maybe 80% of the yoga teacher here in Dubai. You cannot be liked by everyone, but I don't think I did anything to deserve a decline, or someone say, no, I don't want to be a part. It's a great opportunity for everyone. I invite 11 teachers to be on stage with me and to help. And matter of fact, the main one, they were not interested. It was a lot of junior, teacher. So maybe ego, maybe... see, I was working in the fashion industry before, and I thought ego was at this climax. But honestly, in the well-being, everyone, it's really running for themselves, and it's really sad.
Do you think the lesson that was learned through this was to maybe hold back the ego? And to...
My own ego, you mean? Or
to manage your expectations in terms of rejection.
Well, yeah, you learn a lot, definitely. See, I've been working on my ego since way before yoga. I was training with the Russian Special Forces, the Spetsnaz, for 15 years. And when you combat, because it's almost like a martial art, it's like urban combat, like all the technique, you don't want to have any ego, otherwise you guarantee to lose. It's all about accepting. So it actually gets really physical when you accept people stepping on your face, and because you have some training when you are laying down on the floor and people are stepping on you, for you to accept and deal with the two visceral, let's say the two strongest fear that human has, which is the fear of the floor, fear of falling, and fear of physical impact. So this is all ego. So when you start putting your ego aside and you start accepting, so you develop resilience. When you become resilient, there's no resilience with ego. It's either one or the other. So when you become resilient, you start taking all the hits and deal with them. So not just the physical hits, but everything. So I was not doing that by ego, for me to become whatever. I was really thinking that this is something who should be done in Dubai. I was happy to drive the project, and I was actually looking for help, looking for support, and I was welcoming anyone who wanted to jump in the project. But what I've seen is as long as they're not the main character or they're not interested, and that's for a little bit, So I was a bit, I don't expect anything. I was exploring, the project, but it didn't. It could have happened maybe smoother, if the situation was a bit different.
You just mentioned something really interesting there, the Special Forces. Bring me back to that type of training. How did you get into it? Where were you? Elaborate on that, because I did not know that about your background.
Secret.
Yeah, I did not figure that one out.
Yeah, before yoga, I was doing something called Sistema. So it's the name of the martial art. It's not really martial art, it's a combat system. So Russian martial arts, RMA. It's very old. It has at least 10 centuries old, maybe more. Some people believe it's the reason why Russia haven't been conquered at all, because it's infused into the population. During the USSR, it was reserved for the elite forces, so the KGB forces, the self-protection, the 9 bodyguard of Stalin, and the Spetsnaz, which has the commandos. Spetsnaz are not so much, the military, but they usually fight terrorism more, than being in a battlefield, exactly. So they're very elite troops. How did I start? My brother is the one who put me there, like a long time ago. He was in charge of the national security of the Eiffel Tower, So he was dealing with like anti-terror and all the threats that are multiple and non-stop. You have no idea how many threats this type of monument are exposed to.
Can you share any data on that?
It can go from it can be a meeting point for two crowd to fight, basically, or just for perverts to abuse and take picture of other people, kids. It can be the place where some people with a very bad intention wants to do something. You know, I mean, like basically anything I can hurt the country or that can promote. You know, so it's very exposed, and pretty much all the monuments in the world are exposed. But Eiffel Tower really something. Yeah. So he was under a lot of stress and a lot of responsibilities and tried to deal with everything. And the crowd as well, even the tourists, like, when it's hot, they get very irritated, so they can fight. So his role was basically to maintain the safety of everyone, to maintain the peace, and to make sure that nothing happened. Because if something happened there, it's worldwide impact. So it's really highly. I mean, he was not only in charge himself. There's different services, like intelligence, informations, But yeah, he was like handling like a part of it. So he was into all possible techniques to learn how to defend yourself, how to, combat. And he did a lot of martial arts pretty much all his years. He's like older than me. And he discovered this, I mean, one of it.
So I was saying he took you under his wing then. So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one brother and one sister.
Okay.
We cannot say took me under his wing. He forced me to. It was not like... It was like, yeah, I mean, I was young. I was like just a teenager, and told me, you need to like be tough. The life is hard, and you need to do something. So I was doing martial art before, but the one that you do when you're kids, like Aikido, Karate. Sistema, it's not a martial art. There's no rules. There's no referee. There's no objective of making points, of being judged. The only objective is to stay safe. So to be able to stay safe, especially applied to an urban confrontation, is just to go home. If you get attacked, someone tried to rob your watch, your belongings, or worse, you should be able to, two things: destroy the structure of your opponent, so the opponent won't be able to do anything or harm you, and be able to calm the opponent down. And this is the hardest thing to do, because when someone is upset and angry, you have a car accident, the guy just want to kill you, it's very hard to start talking and say, look, we can speak this out. You just have to be tremendously stronger to be able to hold the anger, the emotion, and the will of fight. And there is few techniques who drastically calm down any individual who get into this phase. And this is what we study. So it has to do with fears. If you don't control your own fears, it's very hard to do anything. Fears will block you. Will make you stop breathing, will make you do silly stuff, make you shake your hand, like shake your legs, and like lose control, clarity. So you won't be able to take decision with your mind, with your brain, with your cognitive process. You'll take decision with your reptilian, fight or fly, or all these things that you don't want to deal with. So we want to basically train people, or I get trained to maximize the clarity. So in a situation, fight situation, kidnapping, fire, like anything that is really, really stressful and impactful for the brain and for the body, just to keep your head as cool as possible, so you can take a decision that will save you, not decision that can make things worse, or And the problem in when you have two upset or three upset people together, you can go to a very high escalation of the situation. So even words can turn into a fight. So if someone insults you, even a little bit, and then you feel have to reply, and the other one replies, and then it goes one step further, then push. And so we want to avoid drama. From the beginning, we do what is necessary to contain the situation.
What type of person are you in a situation with two angry people?
Am I angry as well or no? Yeah. Before, I had maybe from my roots, because my family were all a little bit...
Tell me about your roots.
Yeah, well, I'm Algerian, and, like Arab people have a little of tendency to get angry, little fast, but it is something I was working on a lot. And yoga really helped me to, channel this. I would say Sistema was the first, method. I would even say I could not have tried yoga without Sistema. I was not ready. Even with like 10, 15 years of Sistema, yoga was very frustrating for me, because
that was a stepping stone then to your yoga career.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's almost the same discipline, almost the same mentality, same values. Sistema is like fighting with yoga, basically. So you use breath, you use mobility, you use emotional control, meditation. So everything, it's like stage or the state of mind or the state of emotional stage that you want to be when you fight or when you have to deal with an aggression, it's almost the same one when you're on your mat, which is tremendously hard to maintain. So how do I react now? I react good, I guess.
But back then, you were an angry child, would you say?
Not angry child, but yeah, I didn't accept disrespect. I didn't accept when people try to abuse you, and regardless of the person, this can revolt me. So as a kid, not just for me, also for my friend, I had this, and I think it's very Algerian. All the Algerians that I know, they have this fiery and protective. We cannot accept to be mistreated, or we cannot accept that our family or friends being mistreated. So I was always stepping in. One of my friends, for example, in a nightclub or in a football field, when the heat was happening, I was always going, pushing my friend and going. I was ready for. Is that only anger or courage or stupidity? I don't know, but it was the way it is, which is good when you can channel it, but can be destroying, when you don't have, the control over it. And what Sistema does is this. It just, it's really Russian, or, like see all the Slavic people, Ukrainian, Russian, Belarusian, they have this calm and distance. And, we like to say sometimes they have no emotions. They actually have, but when situation is complicated, they can maintain. I don't know where it's coming from. But not like Lebanese or Arabs in general, like they're more Spanish or Italian, they're more like, demonstrative, let's say.
Was there any moment in your life where you just didn't like the person you were becoming, so you had to change what you were doing?
Well, it's a deep question, no? I think, yeah. You see, I can recall some phases, when I went from kids to teenage and from teenage to adults. Let's say I kind of always work in a direction to become the person I wanted to be. So I had this vision of myself older, even when I was younger, like an established, respectful individual with family and with a purpose. And I was always thriving through this direction. So when your intentions are aligned with your action, you are deep into, I would say, an emotional balance, And this is what Sistema and yoga did for me. They gave me the tool to align my intention and my action. I just turned 40 a few months ago. And I'm very, thank you. And I'm very proud of, I would say personally what I'm becoming somehow, because it was not easy to reach what I reached as a businessman, in terms of financial status, in terms of recognition. I had 30 stores, I was doing quite well, To stop everything and to start from scratch with something that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're doing before, because I had 2 MBAs, I was always programmed to performance, always programmed to make money, to live a lavish lifestyle.
What kind of businesses did you have?
Well, I founded a kids brand called Cute Edition. So I was a kids fashion designer, basically. But I was more onto the business sides and the strategic development of the brand. And yeah, when I decided
during that stage,
not at all,
it's very different.
During the process, yes, but at the arrival, never really arrive, but at the stage when you feel like you will be content, something was missing. I think it has to do with purpose, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process. But at some point I was missing a purpose. When you basically do what you have been programmed to do, something is missing. But when you're doing what you really want to do, this is how you start finding, a purpose and going through. And this was the change, basically, what's happened. I could not imagine that yoga was my purpose at all. Especially, either personally, there are people who knew me from before, because I lived in California, was partying a lot in Las Vegas, then going to Mexico. I lived in China. I got my MBA there. So I was really a party guy and really full of energy. I'm not saying like yoga, full of energy, but it's different. For example, I could not do nothing. And yoga teach me the movement in stillness. So it's not because you're not physically active that you cannot, enhance a process of meditation or thoughts of, it's a lot to do with mind. And I really feel it was my colleague.
So when you've had the transition in between managing all these stores, having a business to yoga, how does the listener, how do they find their purpose? How do they figure out their purpose? Where would they even start? What kind of advice would you give them?
I'm always very careful with advices because it's only value for the person who say it and did it. It's very hard. I don't want to be like everyone say, you have to listen to your calling, whatever. I think there is time for everything. If I would have tried 5 years before, I was probably not ready for that. So what I can share with people who are listening is to try to move with the flow and not to try to achieve goals by performance, but achieve it by exploration. So this is something that I share already, but the more you expect, the more you're disappointed. And one of the worst things to deal with is disappointment, especially coming from your own achievements, because you feel you're not good enough, or you didn't do properly, or, the syndrome of imposter and all these things. Or from the treachery of other people. For example, when you expect something from someone and it doesn't happen, and worse happened, then you were devastated. So expectation is a big enemy, really. I would say expectation and panic will be the two worst enemy of any human. Now, if you put expectations away, so you can have goal, you can have project, of course, but explore the journey through it. It's like in yoga, when you learn how to touch your feet, it's not about touching your feet, it's what you learn during the process. So that's life. Everything you're aiming to, what you're going to learn, it's during the mechanism itself. Once you arrive, there's not much to do. The only thing we sure that's going to happen is our death. We are here for certain decades, and at some point we know it's going to stop, and we know that our health will start to degrade and things will be different. That's the only certitude of life. Everything else, it's like a game. It's don't take things too seriously. The more you take things seriously, the harder it gets. Jeff Bezos was saying, problems has to do with inaction. So you can actually, if something is bothering you, you can start be active and try to find solution. Just the idea of trying to find solution is already an action, and you will find an outcome, because everything has an outcome. But stress will come through inaction. When you let the situation, get like rotten and get worse and worse, and then it become a problem. And it's going to take more energy, more time, more money, more concern, more of everything for you to solve it. So better to explore things, even if you're scared to do something, do it scared, but do it, right? Don't leave anything stopping you, and don't expect any outcome. It's like all the athletes, they train. The training is much harder than the competition. I think real champions don't expect to win. They see themselves winning. So they have the visualization of them winning, but they don't expect. So if it's not their time, then they can come back again, and they destroy. A lot of athletes have been destroyed, and you will never see them again, because, it's not the fights or the competition that they lost, is that they lost the ability of being able to move on. So ego is taking over. And that's pretty much the best advice. Explore your life.
You just mentioned visualization. Do you think visualization can impact your karma?
What do you define karma? How do you define it? Because it may have different meaning.
So for my own personal opinion, karma, what goes around comes around. You do something bad will happen. This would be my definition of my karma. So if I was to do this, if I was to visualize myself, even if you look at successful people, right? I'm sure you've come across successful people here in Dubai and they seem like they're doing everything wrong. They're doing dirty things. They're, making money from things that maybe you don't believe in or you don't think has good intention.
Mhm.
Do you think their visualization of their success can oversee their karma?
It's a very deep question, and it requires maybe different answers. What comes around comes around. What goes around comes around. What comes around goes around. And yeah, it can be a good definition of karma. Basically, you get what you do, So you harvest what you plant. Visualization helps you to set a direction. Whether you achieve it or no, you will walk towards this path, and it's very useful. Now, some people has a visualization. For example, I see myself doing this at this time and having this. It will definitely have some consequences, and this is what you were asking me. Yeah. Are the consequences will punish them or will change things? I don't know. I think everything is a part of the plan somehow. And the faster you find your purpose, the faster you align, the faster you grow into this direction. But everything comes with a price. All the businessmen that I know, not all, but I mean, we have, if you're not billionaire, or multi-millionaire, and if you didn't build an empire, it's very hard to understand what those persons are going through, what they have to sacrifice. And we always want to see, the house, the car, the lifestyle, but we don't want to see what they have to handle. Especially when the empire is built on other people, when you have like 50,000 employees, every single decision, every single of your word can impact a dozen, hundreds or thousands of them. So this is a lot of responsibility. So I have the opportunity to see those people, some of them, and to help them first healing, because this is one of the costs as well. How many businessmen have heart attack and burnout, and because they take a lot on their shoulders. So I'm just allowing them to have a break, remove whatever they don't need anymore, and try to make space for some other things. And through the process, so we achieve that through stretching. Through the process, we try to increase the clarity. And I will not say guide them, because I don't guide them. I just create a space for them to guide themselves. So you always find your own decision, find your own answers. And visualization is very important. It's really, a lot of people, they believe like manifestation and abundance. And I would say there's a lot of scammers, to be honest. Like a lot of people, it's like, sound healing. I'm going to be a little controversial here. Sound healing is probably the most powerful tool that human had to heal, really. But when you consider that some monks spend like 20 years to study one frequency, one sound, and that there is some people after a trip to Bali come back with some gongs and offering some healing. I felt there's a big discrepancy between these two words. So I would say abundance and manifestation is the same. It exists. Visualization is very, very strong and very important, but maybe a very few people master it, and very few people, even if they master it, are able to explain and educate. And if you want to see people who do manifestation, there's a lot of hard work behind, and they never share it with people. They never share it. I mean, do you really want to share something that will make you different and above everyone financially and in terms of career? Look at Cristiano Ronaldo, who won the game. I mean, you cannot be more successful than him. His wife, his kids, his career, he won everything you can win many times. He's the first billionaire. I mean, money is not everything, but it's a marker, and the way he uses money as well. So he invests, he's a businessman, and he started from nowhere. He was not the best football player, but he worked hard. He had this vision. He has this visualization, and he speaks about it. Look at today. He play into a very good team, but sometimes, in Saudi, the match are not as important as the one in Champions League, for example. But even though at every free kick, he's speaking to himself. He's like, you can do it. You're going to put it inside. You are the best. You are the best. No one can stop you. It's easy for you. You do it on the training. See, you have these people who lead on the lips. And so they always, read what he says. So he's convincing himself for something who has absolutely, I will not say absolutely, but it's not like the final of the Champions League and he plays everything. And if he did all this, but still for every single goal, he kept this mindset. This is real manifestation. This is real realization. And this is real abundance. And this is real meditation. Because he's there. The challenge is not great, but he make it super important. Every shot is important. Doesn't mean that he will put this one inside the goal, but it means that he try everything that he has. All his person, his body, his intention, his mind, his emotion, everything is driven towards one goal, to put the ball inside. This is really meditation. And if he decide to one day share with the rest of humanity what his technique, I will listen to him, with a lot of attention.
When you talk about manifestation, what is manifestation to you? What does it mean to you? What is the process?
I'm not an expert, but I would say it's the materialization of your thoughts, basically. So it's what you have here brought to reality. So it can be many vectors. Some people pray, they ask God, which is a form of manifestation. Some people will build plan and strategy. Some people will do both. I think everything leads to this. And just want whatever you wish for yourself, for others, or what you want to achieve. But you cannot only manifest or try to manifest. There's a lot of hard work. We go again to the example of McGregor or all the athletes. They put so much effort behind it, the sacrifice. See, if you are ready to sacrifice what they did sacrifice, maybe you can be elected to have what they have. The problem, and you learn this in Sistema, everyone wants to go to paradise, but no one wants to die. So as soon as you can see the effort and the dedication and the sacrifice that comes with, usually you prefer staying in your comfort zone. And you're like, okay, I wish. That's the difference between, I would say athletes and non-athletes, champion and athletes, CEO and entrepreneurs. It's just a matter of, how many effort did you put behind this?
Do you have any examples of anything that you've manifested in life, like big manifestations?
I have a lot.
Want to share?
Yeah, what I'm doing now. I was always hoping to do something that make me happy, that would allow me to do what I want to do and to have freedom, My true calling was to actually help people, to be useful. And this is exactly what I'm manifesting. The list is still long. I have other things in my mind, and but the process is real. It's real. I'm a believer, and I think religion are here specifically to make you away from your ego. We always go back to ego. Ego is something very destroying that everyone has, but should be able to manage or just shut down. Have you ever taken any good decision when you were angry? It's hard to imagine, yeah?
I take space. I'm actually very rarely an angry person.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 16, 17, yeah. You're learning at that stage, but
yeah. So this is a manifestation of ego, like anger. Why me? Why now? No, I should do this. No, I deserve better. And as soon as then you start seeing the clarity of the situation, that it was not that bad, that the person didn't do that much, that maybe the person didn't want to hurt you. So this is all self-oriented perception driven by ego. Ego is our worst enemy, really. So we are our worst enemy. So the day you start mastering your ego and start understanding that and doing things to help you, not being a victim of yourself, this is really the real manifestation for everyone, like really, because this opened a tremendous amount of doors. So I believe the real abundance and the real manifestation is that we have opportunities every second. every second. We walk in the street, we had the opportunity to meet with like 1,000 different people. Maybe these people will believe in you. Maybe these people is the last piece of the puzzle that need for your project, But because we self-center and we close all these doors and so I really believe this is I would say the difference between motivation and inspiration. Motivation, it's already late. You need to keep yourself motivated. So you have to put effort and an active effort to keep yourself up to the alignment or up to the effort. When inspiration, it's very passive. You want to receive. So you can get inspired by people, by situation, by nature, by anything. But for that, you need to be in a state of mind that allowed whatever it's sent to you to be received, right? So this is the switch that happened with me. Before I was motivated, I wanted, I was suffering, Now I'm not suffering. I leave things come to me, you know what I mean? It's really more passive and really more comfortable and really more, and everyone can do that. Next time you're sitting in an airport, in a waiting area, just open your eyes, open your energy, look around. Don't be scared to talk to people. Maybe you go eye contact and maybe you recognize someone and you never know. Because at the end of the day, it's all about relationship with people. Network doesn't mean network like you have to have the best people in your network. No, just your network. Any person can be strategic for you and you can be strategic for anyone, regardless. So it's very important to understand that. Remember when I was working in the fashion industry or when I was studying my first MBA in France, a lot of my friends were working for big names, LVMH, Dior, Louis Vuitton, and like Pierre, who now is killing. But back in the days, was like the group Pinot, so it was like Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent. So during the fashion week, everyone was trying to access the fashion week because it was the best thing. Because after you have the after party and you see celebrities and you have fun and everything is for free. So when you're a student, you really want to be into these places, Let's say I knew big people who was working in the industry at like director level. They never help you. Never. Your friend who work for the company, they wish to help you, but they cannot because it's very complicated to get invitations. And, it's very... I was attending to many, many, many of the fashion weeks, many of the fashion shows, and many of the party because I met friend one with the security guy. I get invited one with the proper invitation, and we start talking. We start talking. The show was not starting. Then after the show, we talk again. We exchange numbers, and we found very common points. Actually, with Sistema, it was like, "Oh, you're doing this," and very nice. Then we keep contact, and the person started inviting me. So I was coming from the back door, not from the front door. So I was in the backstage. So I was in backstage with Marc Jacobs, with like I met them all.
Amazing.
It was incredible. No one, even the directors, could have this access. So the highest level of access came from the lowest category of job in this pyramid. You have like the director, the manager, the designers, the head of design, and at the bottom you have the person in charge of security, and that's the person. So that's why never underestimate any relation and always develop a genuine relation with people.
The advice goes a long way, and I think it's lost in today's people are too frightened to just even be nice or have these interactions.
Yeah, because they're scared to be vulnerable, and especially in a big city like Dubai or New York or Paris, and you always want to show more than you have, but this is not the reality.
There was something that I wanted to talk about today about you that I heard on a podcast. You had a bit of a health scare, right?
There's a reason why I started yoga.
What happened?
Well, my heart was about to stop. I stayed in ICU for like a couple of days. It was very, 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 very challenging.
What was the lead up to that? Like, what happened?
When you have this type of arrhythmia pre-heart attack condition, it's there is like a kind of small nervous system inside the heart itself who regulate the pulse. Mine was completely I want to say destroyed, but was completely out of this place. So it can be many things, can be stress, can be lifestyle. I mean, anything we do or any problem comes from the lifestyle. I mean, I was taking a lot of protein powder with creatine and maybe some other chemicals, and I was not sleeping much. I was working a lot. Back then, I was smoking, I was partying. So, when you sleep like 2-3 hours per night, every night, because I was working day and night. Literally, I was waking up at like 5, 6, being first in the office, leaving last, sometime midnight. And I was so miserable of working. So I was thinking, maybe I should enjoy a bit. So when you're tired and exhausted, you meet your friends and, where you're going to restaurant and party and maybe have a drink or two and maybe smoking a lot. And it was, I think all this, in French, we say une fuite en avant is when you escape forward. So I was escaping something. I was running with no break. Work, health, everything I was running. So just my heart told me, bro, it's not gonna be sustainable like this. And that's why I changed everything. I recognize this, praying God, like, I don't want to die now. Give me another chance. All these things that you think of. I didn't know. See, I was scared to sleep.
Where were you in the moment of prior to going to hospital, or what happened?
I was in my house. It was morning. It started in the morning. When I opened my eyes, my heart felt very. When you start hearing your heartbeats, it's not a good sign. When your heartbeat crazy, when you're laying down and you're over 120, it's not a good sign. When you stand and you fall down and you cannot, and then you start to freak out, right? Then the adrenaline starts shooting again, and then you start and you don't feel your arms and you don't feel your legs, and you freak out. You don't know what's happening. You want to convince yourself that you're okay, and yeah. So I called ambulance.
Who was around you?
I was alone, and this is some of the things that make me realize as well. I was living in big villa on Palm, 7 rooms, but I was alone. I had no girlfriend. I had no pet, because I was literally working day and night, and I had few friends. So that's why it was the change for me. From this day when I decided to make the change, I met my wife, I built a family, I met kids. My life slowed down in a good way. So it was really a wake-up call. It was like the best thing that could happen to me, I guess. Oh, I made it the best thing that happened to me. See, I accepted that this is not normal and I don't want this to happen again. So I was literally asking myself, what can I change? And I did the change, and it was not easy. Especially when I started to feel better. It's like, you're like, oh, it's okay. I think it's fine. Maybe I can go back. No. This day, everything changed. My mindset changed. My life changed. And it's one of the things that I am the most proud of. Because you asked me earlier about manifestation. I manifested the man I am today and the man I was starting to become after this happened. And I wasn't going in this direction. And this is the wake-up call that I receive, and this is where I start listening and understanding things. But it had to happen, and I'm very happy it did.
How difficult was it to shed the old skin, the old identity that you had? Because when you go from being a successful businessman to yoga, how does that transition happen?
It's a leap of faith. First of all, your friends, your parents doesn't understand. All my friends who was with me in my MBAs, in my university, in my business school, they could not understand what I'm saying. Because they were looking up to me back in the days. Now they look up to me again, but it was 10 years of, because I was in Dubai, I was entrepreneur, I was successful, I was doing good for myself. And so they went from asking me advices to maybe even not talk to me anymore because they don't understand. Like, why yoga? You're doing yoga? Come on. A lot of people consider I was doing depression, so I was looking for something. When I was actually going out from depression, that I didn't even experience, but it was here. I understood it, like later from my behaviors. When I say it went smooth. I didn't suffer too much. It was a big jump, but when you do it after, you just have to swim. But yeah, when you have financially was the biggest jump, definitely, because the salary of an entrepreneur with 100 employees and it's not comparable to the salary of a yoga teacher. But I made it in a different way. I learned how to scale the knowledge I was accumulated, and I had a vision. I have MBA, so I mean, I've learned how to make brands. I've learned how to scale. And when you do this, let's say when you're brander, doesn't matter somehow if you sell water or if you sell petrol or if you sell services. At the end of the day, it's almost the same mechanism. So whatever I was applying to my fashion brands, I start apply it to myself. So I become my own brand, as simple as this.
How does one compete? Now, please excuse my ignorance on this, because I love the idea of yoga. I love how it makes me feel. I used to watch yogis and think, I want exactly what they have.
Okay.
My background was strength and conditioning coach for 7 years. But to compete with a yogi who's literally born into yoga, for example, Indian culture, they're born into yoga essentially. How do you compete with that? What's the journey? What's the beginning? How do you coach people when you can't even touch your toes?
You don't compete. It's as simple as that. You cannot compete. I mean, my teacher started yoga at 5 years old. He's shorter, lighter. He's vegan. He has no belly. Has a tremendous strength. He prays. He's Hindu. You cannot be more rooted than the tradition of yoga than he is. I never wanted to compete with him, and I couldn't. Even if I try, I won't be able. So you just have to develop your own style, your own understanding of yoga, and it's what I did. I didn't even try to be better than anyone. First of all, it's not the mentality of yoga. You don't do yoga to achieve performance. You do yoga to explore, once again, and this is what I've learned from that. You do yoga to feel better, to be a better person, to act differently, and to connect with your body so you have better health, as simple as it is. So I was not concerned. Now it's still a market, and you're right, there's competitors, there's people who will teach instead of you, and you want to teach instead of them, and because, this and that. I would say there's a lot of studio, there's a lot of opportunity, and even if you cannot teach in a studio, you have online, you can do private. It's full of opportunities. You just need to have your own signature methods or understanding. So yoga, it's a blank paper. What you write on this paper, it's up to you. I will not understand yoga the same way that you do, or same way that my teacher did, or we just have different perspective. So it's not about, I would say there's as much different type of yoga than it has different type of instructors. My yoga is really anatomical based. What kept me to yoga, it's the understanding of human as an entity, physical, mental and emotional entity. And this what really triggered the passion I have now for human being understanding, And this passion is what lead me to help people, especially now, when you help champions and athletes, you really feel good because you feel like all the sacrifice that you did, all this time that you spend reading, understanding, creating, innovating, it come to an end now and start to make sense because those people have seen the best physiotherapists, the best yoga teacher, the best Pilates, the best. They always try all the methods during their career to be the best. Right? So when you grab their attention and they learn something from you, you're like, oh, you see, I did something really unique and I should be proud of it. And so don't try to copy anyone. Everyone has the same trunk, yoga, and even, between Ashtanga, Shivananda, Hatha, even in the yoga world, traditional yoga world, there is 100 types of different yoga from Iyengar, And what's interesting is like all the more recent yoga type are created and they name after the creator. So like Ashtanga have been created by Patabi's Joyce, so he creates the fundamental flow and the sequences. Like Iyengar, the Iyengar style of yoga have been created by Iyengar himself. So I think it's a natural way of using yoga, adapting to your understanding and come up with something that can help specific parts of people. And I would say my yoga will help a lot CEOs because of the mindset approach I have on this, clarity and fear management, and pretty much someone who's already quite advanced in physical development, athletes, sports people. It will, of course, be also suitable for beginners, but beginners who are leading to a certain vision of alignment and understanding. And so I really resonate with people who are into, this type of vision, mainly.
What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned through your yoga practice and teaching?
There's hundreds, thousands, but I would say nothing really matters. Nothing is really important. We are not important. We think we are, we're not really. Like as human, in the scale of universe, what do we represent? We are temporary here. We're gonna be forgotten soon, and this will really help you put your ego apart. So every time you feel that, why me, why now, why I don't have, why I'm not, it doesn't matter. Really, like you're just wasting your time. Just wasting your time. And this is the same thing with Islam. I am Muslim. So when I put my carpet to pray or my yoga mat to practice, it's the same mechanism happen. Like you are with yourself, connected with the higher force or connected with your deep inside. And this is what yoga teaches people. And this is what I've learned from yoga. Like nothing really matters. Just explore your life and, try to make the most of it before it ends. And don't forget to be happy. A lot of people forget that, do we eat to survive? Or do we survive because we eat? Or do we eat because of pleasure? Yeah, it should be a bit of everything. Life is everything. There's this dose of difficulty, but this dose of happiness. When it's time to enjoy, enjoy. When it's time to work, work. When it's time to reflect, it's all about being aligned with the sequences of your life.
Because this is called the Detach Podcast, what would you detach yourself away from that's limiting you today?
The founding book of yoga, one of the founding book, of course, there's the Bhagavad Gita, but one will be the Yoga Sutras for Patanjali. And I believe it's the second most important sutra. So the first one is the present moment, yoga now. Second one is non-attachment. Or maybe the third, but it's one of the top three. The more you attach to things, material, emotion, people, the more you make yourself vulnerable. The real freedom is to be detached to everything. Doesn't mean that you don't love your kids and your partner and your job. It means that you should not suffer if you get detached from it. And I guess this is the real fundamental of everything. As human, we get attached to everything. To material, to emotions, to life. Even dying is okay. Dying is okay. Don't get too much attached to things. And if now I have to get detached from one thing, honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I'm living in this philosophy since a couple of years now, so I don't think I am too much attached to everything. I'm trying not to be too much attached, and I cannot be more detached than now. Let's put it this way. You see, I am in this place where I'm sufficiently detached not to suffer, but still attached to, a certain degree of it, so I can still enjoy everything.
Congratulations. It's a very rare answer I get on this podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for today's conversation. It's been so insightful.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And I have a gift for you. My book, I'm going to dedicate it for you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.